assault and batteries, but my trunk stay ever ready. Assault and battery, if you scared, you never ready.
Alright, we've had a crazy amount of wrestling over the last couple weeks. Everything from AEW's pay-per-view in New York City. WWE is currently on tour in Europe, doing SmackDown in Spain. We've had Raw in Italy, as well as Clash at the Castle. We've had Mexico for the Mask vs. Mask, the AAA show. And the biggest takeaway, honestly, coming out of that was how much an international market deserves a high-end pay-per-view, a big four pay-per-view, maybe even a WrestleMania. But before I get into that, if you're new to this channel, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Appreciate everyone who's been doing so, and it really goes a long way for the algorithm of my channel. WrestleMania, as I've spoken about many times in the past, it's always been a North America market. You know, they're going to Saudi Arabia next year with a lot of controversy. And I think it is about time that WWE really pulls the trigger when it comes to taking this WrestleMania or SummerSlam or Royal Rumble or even a Survivor Series if you really want to start small, taking it to an international market in Europe or even Mexico. I feel like these fans have proven over the last, I want to say more the last year, that they deserve something so much more than just maybe a Raw or a SmackDown. Pay-per-views have been second to none, you know, just trump anything that WWE's put on in the North American market, Canada included. This is coming from someone who went to Elimination Chamber last year when John Cena turned heel, and just looking at how the crowd reacts, just looking at how much the crowd is into the show, they appreciate everything. The international market, they want to cheer the good guys, they want to boo the bad guys, and because they've gotten so long without having an actual noteworthy shows, they are into every single thing from the opening bell to the last match, and that's what you want in a wrestling show. And I feel like with having a crowd so invested in everything that the wrestlers are doing makes the show 100 times better. SmackDown, most weeks is unbearable to watch. I'm sure this is not breaking news to anybody, but I think when you have a hot crowd like they did in Spain last week, this past Friday, it just made it so much more enjoyable. The new chants, they're into everything. You know, when you're sitting at home and you're watching a boring segment or a boring match, you know it's not going to be the case in the building because you have 10 to 15,000 people just going crazy for every single thing that wrestler is doing. And for me, it's all about travel. As a wrestling fan, as a traveling wrestling fan, really over the past 10, 15 years, you want to go to these shows. You want to attend these things in person. And honestly, sitting at home and watching those pay-per-views, watching those Raws and SmackDowns in Europe, it gives me major FOMO. I wish I was at those shows. I have that fear of missing out. And that goes for any pay-per-view, but I feel like it's a little extra when it's in Europe, when it's in England, Spain, France, because you see how crazy and you see how much the crowd is having a good time, and you can't help but to want to be part of that action. You want to be part of the chants. You want to be part of the excitement. And I think having a WrestleMania there in a major stadium, and I feel like it would just break every single record the WWE has ever established. When you factor in, you know, stadium-wise, they invest so much money in their soccer stadiums. You can have the open roof, you can have a closed roof. Weather is great most of the year, especially in April. It's not like you have to worry about rain or cold. And honestly, the more I saw Clash in Italy, the more you saw how backlash was in France the very first time they went there. That was when you knew that there was something special in this market, and WWE, I think, is taking full advantage on going there at least once a year or twice a year. And I think it's only a matter of time that WWE goes there maybe more often than not. And I've heard people even say that maybe WWE needs to take a break from the North American market and give them a chance to kind of make you miss them, and it gets you more into the show. And when they do go back to America, you realize how much the crowd participation really affects the show, because you go back to the same old, this is awesome, boring chants, or just straight silence. And again, I'm guilty for this as well. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm the one starting these chants or I'm the one yelling at the top of my lungs. But when you see a crowd having that much fun, it really gets you thinking that, man, there are fans who are just craving wrestling, and we don't know how good we have it in North America, where you can get a Raw or a SmackDown or a pay-per-view 2 to 4 times a year, especially depending where you are. You know, the New York market, they get at least 3 to 4 shows a year, which is incredible. Where Canada, we're lucky to get it maybe once, twice at most. But when I think about it, England used to be the one they used to go to. Used to see a lot of live events outside of England, and then they started doing the Raws at the O2 Arena. But now it seems like England's becoming almost the North America of Europe. And I know it's crazy to say because England's always been a hot crowd, but when you see how crazy like Belgium was, when you see how crazy Ireland is, you see how crazy Scotland is, and Austria, you have France, you have Spain. There's so much potential. Germany, even there's so many places WWE can go to, and I feel like each crowd brings a different flavor to the show. They have their own chants. They have their guys that they're obsessed with and the guys they don't like. But the only thing that's really common is they enjoy the show 110% and they make you feel like everything is special. And that's what WWE needs right now. I feel the creative way they're going. There's a lot of ups and downs, but a crowd like that really makes you think that they're doing everything they can and they're doing nothing wrong. And I guess that's kind of what you need. You need a little bit of smoke and mirrors when it comes to that kind of stuff. Mexico, even that was kind of the other thing with the AAA show. That's another place that deserves some sort of like major event. And I don't know what the logistics are with the politics, but Mexico is definitely somewhere where they appreciate wrestling. They have a deep wrestling culture, obviously with the lucha libre. You have so much potential with like Rey Mysterio. You have both El Grande Americanos, or at least one now. You have Rey Phoenix, Penta. You have so much stuff you can do with the Mexican heritage, and I feel like taking advantage of that and even having, they did it with Puerto Rico in Backlash, and you saw how great that was. And to think they haven't gone back since, I think is a missed opportunity. AEW, I know they full well take full advantage, and good on them. They actually announced that they're going to be having their Grand Slam event in Arena Mexico in August. So coming off the heels of that AAA show, everyone's talking about Mexico. Everyone's talking about how great that show was. But now AEW's gonna be like, yeah, if you guys are gonna go there, we will go there, and they'll be there in August. So I feel like WWE should follow suit, and it'll be good. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.